I'm going to talk about Dahlia tubers, in particular broken Dahlia tubers. Tubers that look like they've come across the world, the back of a lorry. And they probably have. And you get them out, excited because you've picked them looking great in the catalogue, and you find that lots of the tubers have got thin and broken necks. These are extreme examples from the order that I've taken this year, but the question now arises as to whether these broken neck tubers should simply be removed and discarded, which is what we usually do, or I'm wondering whether we can salvage them, whether they in fact look broken but they have got some potential to give us a plant. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, is dividing these broken neck tubers and planting them up to see whether they are in fact viable. I can't tell you at this moment whether they are or they're not. I know that the standard thing to do is to remove the broken tuber and plant the rest up, but there are times when there's very little left of what you'd say is viable tuber, and you're left with the decision, the option is to throw that away and waste it, or else to plant it up and see whether you do get a plant at the end of the day. So let's have a look at these tubers first. I've got my Felco pruning knife, I've got some hydrogen peroxide to sterilise the blade after each variety. So let's have a look at this one first. Here's my broken neck. Here's another broken neck. Another broken neck. And one, what you'd say perhaps is a more viable tuber. The neck's not broken. So I'm going to carefully divide off the area where I think there's an eye. I'm going to leave this one on the stock because I'm going to plant that up as it is. That's the one out of all these tubers that I think is probably most viable. This is my broken neck, which you can see. They hang on by fibrous threads. That's what happens once they break. This area around here we can see some swellings which are pretty well certain those are eyes. So I'm going to take that off. And that's what I'll be planting up as a test. There's my broken tuber. Divide that off. So I'm going to store these in the box carefully and go on to the next one. Broken neck. A bit more difficult to see where this one's coming off, but it's because it sinks down into that region there. So I'm going to cut there. And this is damaged in other ways, this tuber. There's an area of damage there and it's lost its skin, so the chances of that being viable is less, but not impossible. Another broken tuber. I do this if I have got a, let's say, a prized dahlia or very few of a particular variety and I really want to salvage as much as possible. then I might do this exercise to see if I can get some viable plants from necks that would have previously been just divided and left. You can see how this fibrous tissue here, this fibrous tissue there just allows the tuber to cling on. There's not much food store in that tuber, is there? But anyway, we'll do the exercise. So I'm going to take much of the stock as I can there. That's the next one. That is a broken tuber there, so I'm going to take that off as well. Pretty well certain these are eyes. You see little swellings there? Those are eyes. So that's a partially broken neck. Then I'll decide whether I'm going to plant that or not. There's the next one, broken neck. Divide it off. Another broken neck there, you can see a little split along there. So I'll take that. You know, it's all a bit of a mess after that, so I think I'll probably plant that as a tuber clump. So after that exercise, there were 5 tuber clumps purchased from this commercial organisation, and I found so many of the necks were broken. I've taken them out in an effort to get them to give us a new plant, to give us shoots. I'm going to plant the rest of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what remains of the tuber stock, and I'll plant those 5 up. And I've also got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 single tubers, which I hope some at least will give us shoots. Sterilise my blade. And put a label on them. So let's have a look. There's my broken tuber. And now what we're going to do is plant them up, so we'll go in the other room and plant them up, get them started, and then in 3 weeks we'll know whether we've got a complete loss or we've managed to recover some plants. So I'm just going to plant these up now in the ordinary way, multi-purpose, peat-free compost, quite damp. If you do put dahlia tubers into damp compost, it must be warm. If it's damp and cold, then they're going to rot. So I'll just find room for each of these. 1 variety per tray. Let's go this way with that one. And if they're successful, what will happen is that we'll get a sprout from an eye such as that one there. The question is whether the food store in the tuber is able to get through this damaged area here to the growth point. And that's the whole thing. There's a bit of debate about whether it's possible or whether it's impossible. This experiment will at least show me, with my methods, one way or the other. It's okay to leave a bit of the tuber exposed because they're quite delicate, these neck areas. I'm going to cover with compost the actual neck area so the tuber's body is just visible. And I'm going to place that on heat now, a 20-degree heat mat. Just embedding them a little bit to try to give them support. They're already damaged. Okay, we're all set. Now I'm going to label these a little better, and I'm going to put them on heat, and I'm going to put a cover of some sort over them so that the compost doesn't dry out too quickly. So there they are, our experiment. Thanks very much indeed for listening, and I hope that you will join me in about 3 weeks' time to have a look and see how these guys are getting on. Thanks ever so much, and goodbye for now.